comedy greats like Flip Wilson played Geraldine. Richard Pryor played some roles on his show. Jamie Foxx played Wanda. Martin played Shanae. That has nothing to do with my manhood being lessened for trying to play a role and trying to put food on the table for my family.
Katt Williams' recent appearance on Club Shay Shay has resurfaced the decades-old rumor of how black comedians allegedly sell their soul for fame. In fact, Rickey Smiley, one of the comedians who were mentioned by Williams, responded to him in a manner that pretty much confirmed the rumor.
Why you didn't ask him why has he played a woman in more movies than he's played a man?
So, what exactly did he say in response to this? Williams and Smiley co-starred in the 2002 dramedy Friday After Next, the third film in the Friday franchise starring Ice Cube and John Witherspoon. Williams portrayed the character Money Mike, while Smiley played the role of Santa Claus. Smiley previously told Sharp he originally had the role of Money Mike. Williams and Smiley pictured co-starred in the 2002 dramedy Friday After Next. This man told you he had Katt Williams' role. He was going to be Money Mike, and Katt Williams was going to be the Santa Claus, Williams said. We auditioned in Los Angeles. I was audition number 201. 200 black comedians auditioned for the role of Money Mike with me. You're saying all 201 of us was auditioning, and you had already had the role and had already shot the role in 4 days? Following their experience on Friday After Next, Williams claimed he had a clause placed in his contract stipulating that he would only work with Smiley if he was wearing a dress in his roles. Now, what was Rickey Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did. It's in my contract, Williams said. That's where he's a believable actor. Him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women. In response to this, Smiley told his radio audience on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show he was originally meant to be Money Mike, but in hindsight thinks Williams was the better choice. I had no reason to lie about that, Smiley said. They added that whole pimp twist to that character, which was actually a better decision and made it funnier, Smiley said of Williams's casting as Money Mike. There was no way in the hell I could have executed that role like that, and I'm glad that they made that decision. Personally, I liked the pimp role better, Smiley said, but the Santa Claus role was just perfect for me. Williams also told Sharp he had a clause placed in his contract that he would only work with Smiley if he was wearing a dress in his roles. Following this, rapper and actor Ice Cube took to his Instagram to talk about Williams' comments. In a 9-minute video on Instagram, Cube, the star of Friday After Next, opened up by saying, "It's been over 20 years since the movie came out, and people have different perspectives." Cube went on to say that Williams was correct for the most part, but wanted to clarify a few things. Rickey did give Money Mike a shot, but when we saw him and how he moved and auditioned, we decided he would be a better Santa Claus, which was, to me, the better casting. But when we saw Katt, I just knew he was perfect for Money Mike. Another claim that Cube wanted to clarify was Williams saying he wrote his part for Money Mike. The role was written, but he enhanced it, which is why Katt was so dope in the movie. Money Mike had a small role, about as big as the Santa Claus role, but when we started the filming, he was giving much magic, that we kept expanding the role and giving him more to do because he was on point. The last claim Cube wanted to clarify was Williams' claim about an essay scene originally being in the script of Friday After Next. I would never shoot an essay scene in a movie, especially like Friday, where you actually see this happening on camera, said Cube. Meanwhile, Katt Williams has also exposed several other black comedians for being controlled by the industry, one of them being Jamie Foxx. In 2004, Foxx won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his performance in the biographical film Ray, in which he portrayed the legendary musician Ray Charles. He has also been nominated for several other awards for his roles in films such as Django Unchained 2012, Just Mercy 2019, and Soul 2020. Katt somehow thinks all the trials and tribulations the actor has been going through are due to his shady links with the Hollywood elite. Foxx got brutally honest during a sit-down at the 2018 Tribeca Film Festival about the award season he spent campaigning for Ray. The hour-long conversation found the Oscar winner looking back at his career in film, music, and television, but the most surprising tidbit came when the actor admitted to being an embarrassment for part of the 2004 to 2005 award season, in which he eventually won the Academy Award Best Actor. "When I was up for the Oscar, I didn't take it seriously at all," Foxx said. "I thought there was no way to win that. I took Oscar season as an excuse to party. I was like, oh, I'm nominated, break out the champagne and let's party." I remember having paparazzi on me for the first time. I remember going absolutely nuts. I went to the Golden Globes and there was champagne involved and I was just wrong on the red carpet. I was disrespectful to the process. Foxx remembered attending the Globes with a friend and being nominated for multiple awards that year. On the red carpet, he and his friend were screaming the number of awards they were up for that evening in a way Foxx said was extremely immature. The actor said his publicist called him and yelled at him for his behavior, telling the actor, "What are you doing? You see how embarrassing this is? You've got a chance, but you gotta walk a certain way." The first person to intervene and really get Foxx back on track was one celebrated media mogul. The television personality called Foxx and told him personally that he was blowing it. "She told me, 'You really have a great chance to do something that is wonderful, and the character you played touched so many people, but not if you act like this," Foxx said. The media mogul had an idea for an intervention. She invited Foxx to a party at Quincy Jones' mansion. Foxx said he met several actors and actresses he looked up to as a kid at the party, and they all congratulated him and said they liked his work. But she brought Foxx to the party so he could meet one person in particular, Sidney Poitier.
"You want to meet who you're supposed to meet here?" I said, "Yeah, he's right there." And it was Sidney Poitier.
Standing in a tuxedo in the corner was Sidney Poitier, Foxx said. "I walked up to him and he said, 'I watched your performance and I grew 2 inches. I leave you with one thing, responsibility.'" Foxx thought to himself after hearing Poitier's wisdom, "No more after parties. I got to get my ish together." Foxx did just that. He ended up taking his daughter to the Oscars and scaled back on partying. He ended up winning the Oscar, a moment to this day he still refers to as life-changing. In any case, during a 2013 interview with Blacktree TV, while discussing his role in Scary Movie 5, Katt delved into some interesting topics, including a theory about black actors being forced to wear dresses on screen in order to progress to the next level of fame. It's worth noting that this interview came out not long after Kevin Hart appeared on an SNL skit wearing a dress. For context, it all started when Dave Chappelle, another revered comedian, appeared on Oprah's show in 2006, where he talked openly about his refusal to accept a $50 million deal from Comedy Central. He felt that such deals came with strings attached, and he was unwilling to be controlled or humiliated for the sake of a paycheck. Chappelle's revelations didn't end there. He recounted being asked to wear a dress for a movie scene, an experience that left him deeply uncomfortable. According to him, many comedians had faced similar situations, having to don dresses on screen, and it often coincided with a critical juncture in their careers. This, too, was a nod to the prevailing industry belief that black entertainers needed to cross this peculiar threshold to advance. Fast forward to 2012, when Kevin Hart was asked about Dave Chappelle's claims during a radio show. While he didn't explicitly say no to ever wearing a dress, Hart emphasized the importance of personal boundaries. He stated that crossing these boundaries was non-negotiable for him.
You have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross.
He even cited examples of bizarre requests he had received, such as dribbling a basketball on a talk show, which he politely declined. Hart stressed the importance of protecting his brand and the potential risks of compromising it. However, just a year later, Hart appeared in an SNL skit where he donned a dress, a move that drew sharp criticism from fans. Some accused him of being a sellout, arguing that he had contradicted his earlier stance. The skit portrayed him as a 9-year-old child pope, an image that many believe didn't align with the Kevin Hart they had come to know.
The new pope is 9-year-old Oscar nominee, Kevin Wallace.
Katt Williams seized this opportunity to reignite the feud. He suggested that Kevin Hart's actions on SNL were merely part of a larger pattern, insinuating that Hart was willingly playing by the industry's rules to secure fame and fortune. Williams opined that Hart's success allowed him to escape criticism for wearing a dress, as a long line of comedians had already done so before him.
At the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him.
He pointed to movies like Big Mama's House and the Medea franchise as examples of previous instances where comedians had donned dresses. Williams didn't go all out in his attack on Hart. Instead, he subtly questioned the choices made by comedians who aimed for mainstream success. He hinted that some entertainers, including himself and Dave Chappelle, were willing to go against the grain and, as a result, might never attain the same level of fame as Hart. The feud took a heated turn when Kevin Hart, fed up with Williams' insinuations, unleashed his frustration during an appearance on the Breakfast Club radio show. Hart hit back hard, accusing Katt Williams of dodging responsibility for his actions, particularly his issues with the law and substance AB. He argued that Williams had squandered opportunities and positioned himself as a risk to studios, which eventually led to a decline in his career. Hart wasn't mincing words. He laid the blame squarely on Williams' choices. Hart emphasized that he had worked diligently to achieve success and hadn't compromised his principles. He pointed to Williams' own issues, implying that Williams was trying to deflect blame by attacking him. According to Hart, comedy was a serious business, and those who succeeded did so through hard work and dedication, not by succumbing to industry pressures. At its core, this feud became a clash of values and principles. Katt Williams seemed to represent a group of comedians who believed in staying true to their art and resisting any attempts at conformity, even if it meant staying on the fringes of the industry. On the other hand, Kevin Hart was seen as someone who had navigated the mainstream with remarkable success but was not willing to compromise his values or image. Williams implied that comedians like him and Dave Chappelle couldn't reach the same level of success as Kevin Hart because they refused to bow to the industry's whims. He suggested that they might have been pushed to do things they were uncomfortable with for the sake of fame. The message was clear. There were boundaries, and crossing them came at a price. In any case, one of the reasons why Katt has always had it for Hart is because Katt, he believed that the industry saw an opportunity to replace him with his fellow comedian Kevin Hart, but he didn't blame Hart for the situation. According to Vibe, the prolific comedian claimed Hart was a puppet being strung along by powers greater than himself. But Williams also asserted in his mind, Hart being a puppet wasn't his fault, while comparing himself to the true story star. "We don't get mad. Just because I'm better than some black dudes doesn't mean I'm better than no black dudes," Hart said. "I'm saying if you want to be mad at Kermit the Frog, don't be mad at Kermit the Frog, be mad at Jim Henson. Don't say F Donald Duck when you really mean F Walt Disney." But Williams also shared he had nothing against Hart at the time despite his feelings towards him. "I don't care nothing about that happens to Kevin Hart. I just wish him the best. I just know that that's somebody's hand is stuck up that baby, you understand? Oh, we're a puppet show, boo-boo. Please believe it," he continued. In a separate interview with Rover Radio, Williams addressed the conspiracy that Kevin Hart might be behind his controversies. Williams was asked if his scandals were a ploy to tear Williams down to put Hart in his former spot. But although Williams shrugged off the conspiracy, he did believe Hart was set up as a possible replacement. The fault wasn't Hart's, however. "The real truth of the matter is that I already knew what the situation was, and I had already stepped to the side at the point," Williams said of his comedic career. "In the industry, as it was in that small realm, was wondering what's going to happen with comedy. So I helped in the blueprint to create a Kevin Hart to fill that vacuum." Williams further elaborated that Hart couldn't affect his career because at the time he had no real power. "He doesn't have any power at all. There are no powerful puppets in puppet land. Not that the person is bad because they're a puppet, but they're not making their own decisions. Their decisions are being made by a corporation. And so it's that corporation that I have issue with," Williams shared. Williams also brought up a theory that corporations don't care for Hart all that much. In fact, they might view Hart the same way that they view Williams. "If you like somebody, you're not going to let somebody do 12 movies in the course of 12 months, Williams said. "You could have broke 12 movies up in 4 years and given somebody a wonderful extended period of time in their craft instead of giving somebody 12 movies in 12 months. That sounds like you hate that person." In any case, in the recent interview on Club Shay Shay, Katt Williams also addressed the rapid rise of Hart to fame. Williams began by highlighting the astonishing trajectory of Kevin Hart's career in Hollywood by first questioning the unprecedented speed with which Hart achieved success.
"In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club."
Williams went on and suggested that Hart's rapid ascent was unusual and posed the question of whether Hart had truly paid his dues in the competitive world of stand-up comedy. The comedian emphasized the significance of the journey and questioned whether Hart's seemingly instant success was indicative of a different narrative.
"He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No."
In the interview, Katt Williams introduced the term plant to describe someone who seemingly appears out of nowhere and attains success without the traditional struggles that comedians often face, and then claims they are self-made. Williams then drew attention to the fact that Kevin Hart's documentary with Chris Rock revealed his comedy roots on the East Coast. He pointed to a perceived contradiction in Hart's narrative, noting, "He just did his documentary with Chris Rock, where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast. So how, simultaneously, was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing? It didn't happen." Williams probed into the inconsistencies in Hart's story, challenging the widely accepted narrative of an overnight success. In any case, Kevin Hart also once addressed the rumors of his overnight success. In 2014, Kevin Hart sat down with Oprah for an interview on Oprah Prime, where he delved into the intricacies of his skyrocketing career and the harsh realities of finding success in Hollywood. Hollywood has a way of making everything seem like an overnight success, Hart explained during the interview. But I've had 18 years in the business. I put in my time. I got dues that have been paid and paid again and paid one more time after that. I stayed true to my dreams and eventually they came true. Oprah pointed out the countless hardworking individuals striving to break into the industry and achieve success. She probed Hart on why he was able to do it while so many others faced insurmountable challenges. The difference in me is that I paid attention to what people did before me, whether it was right or wrong, Hart reflected. Everybody that's successful lays a blueprint out. Not only did Hart pay attention, but even back in 2014, he surrounded himself with tangible reminders of those who paved the way for him, from Eddie Murphy to Chris Rock to Richard Pryor. The walls of his home, adorned with pictures and paintings of comedians he considered mentors, served as daily inspiration. I come down these steps every day. I look at Richard, he was great. I see Eddie, he was great. I see Chris Rock, he was great, Hart shared. It's a constant reminder. What am I trying to achieve? I want to be great. This unwavering motivation, as Hart expressed in the interview, was his belief in what set him apart in Hollywood. What separates me is my drive, he stated. My drive is other people's success. Anyway, Katt Williams didn't stop at questioning Kevin Hart's rapid rise. He also delved into the dynamics of Hollywood gatekeepers. Williams challenged the notion that there are no gatekeepers in the entertainment industry, asserting that he has observed individuals controlling access to opportunities. He used the example of Kevin Hart supposedly letting Tiffany Haddish into the industry, raising the question of whether gatekeepers do indeed exist.
Because they tell you that there's no gatekeepers, but we keep seeing the same people open the gate. Didn't Kevin open the gate and let Tiffany in? Ain't he now opening it up? Don't such and such open the gate?
Now, fans have argued that Kevin Hart was able to be gatekeeper because he complied to the demands of the industry, which included wearing a dress. Aside from Hart, another comedian who was allegedly made to wear a dress in order to achieve fame is Martin Lawrence. Martin played the role of Shanae Jenkins, who was arguably his most popular character on his mid-90s sitcom, Martin. She was a 26-year-old weave technician from Detroit who owned Shanae's show Nuff Hair Salon.
What do you want, Shanae?
Oh my goodness. If it isn't Little Miss Attitude.
Anyway, following Katt's claims about Rickey Smiley, who he said he wouldn't work again unless he played a character wearing a dress, Sharp asked him why he put something like that in his contract. That's where he's a believable actor, he said. Him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women, and I believe that the best actor should be in the best role. Perry, who has played the divisive comedy character Medea in 13 movies including one animated feature, got a mention later in the interview. We put too much pressure on Tyler Perry, you know what I mean? He ain't put nobody on, he said. The people that been in his productions, they not famous. All them could walk through the mall without security. Be what you going to be, but put your people on. If you a gay person and you in there, put some other gay people on. Put somebody on, or don't be wondering why people keep saying gatekeepers, cause clearly, y'all keeping these gates. Now, just like Kevin Hart, it appears Tyler Perry also happily played the role of Medea in order to gain success and favor with the elites. And boy, did it work. You see, the character of Medea has its roots from a year when Tyler Perry went to Atlanta, Georgia for a spring break festival called Freaknik, and his eyes were opened wide to the possibilities of what life could be. When he arrived in the city, he was blown away by how different life was for Black people there compared to New Orleans. For the first time in his life, he saw Black lawyers and doctors, as well as middle-class families going out to restaurants and the movies. He decided to move to Atlanta and find actors to put on the play at the 14th Street Playhouse. Tyler worked as many odd jobs as he could to save up $12,000. He put all of the money he needed for his rent and car payment into bringing that play to the stage. He needed 1,200 people to show up on the opening night to break even. Only 30 people showed up. This did not deter Tyler Perry. He kept trying. He went right back to working whatever minimum wage job he could get and saved up for the next play. Whenever the theater would give him the opportunity to perform his show, he would quit his job, perform, and fail again. From 1991 to 1998, this cycle continued, and he put on that play to a nearly empty theater for 7 years straight. Then, when he was 28 years old, he finally found an audience. On the opening night of his play, he looked outside the window, and this time there was a line stretching around the block. At the end of the play, the audience gave him a standing ovation. From that night forward, he only performed sold-out shows. His His second play was called I Can Do Bad All by Myself, where he premiered his most famous character, a grandmother named Medea. Before he ever went on TV, Medea had made Tyler Perry a fortune. He had already made $100 million on ticket sales and $20 million on merchandise. For a lot of people, they would see that as having made it and retire young. But for Tyler Perry, this was only just the beginning. According to a recent report by Forbes, Tyler's famous Medea movies have grossed more than $660 million in total, netting him $290 million in profits. Considering he stars in and produces them, Tyler's obviously keeping a huge percentage of the profits. In fact, Forbes notes that Tyler owns 100% of the content he's created, which means he keeps the lion's share of pretty much everything he touches. This reportedly includes more than 1,200 television episodes, 24 stage plays, and 22 movies. In any case, not all actors who have won dresses have been as successful as Tyler Perry. In fact, Brandon T. Jackson is still blaming the derailment of his career on a singular career choice: starring in big mamas, like Father, like Son. The 2011 flick paired rising star Jackson with Martin Lawrence in the Undercover Cop franchise, where Jackson played the veteran actor's stepson. The film's plot sees the duo crack a case with the help of their female alter egos, Big Mama and Charmaine. Both men dressed as women in bodysuits, ladies' clothing, wigs, and makeup. According to IMDb, the project had an estimated budget of $32 million and made upwards of $82 million at the global box office. The younger actor previously stated that he signed on to the movie for the big check and the chance to work with Lawrence. Jackson has long blamed his decision to don a dress as the catalyst for his career's demise. In a recent stand-up set, he echoed his disdain for the film when an audience member praised him for his performance. "I hate that Illuminati. That movie ruined my life," he joked. "That dress ruined my it." That was the start of the end of Brandon T. Jackson. He went on to humor the audience, saying, "I'm trying to get Illuminati muscles like Michael B. I'm trying to figure out how to get that." That N broke up with Lori Harvey and came back with Steve Harvey mustache. That ish was crazy. In a past interview, the role-bounce star alluded to black male actors dressing as women as a tired shtick. In the early 70s, comedian Flip Wilson dressed as female character Geraldine on his eponymous show. Lawrence dressed as his mother and neighbor Shanae on Martin in the 90s. Wesley Snipes portrayed a woman in 1995's To Wong Fu. Jamie Foxx as Wanda on In Living Color in the 90s. Ving Rhames played a transgender woman in 2000's Holiday Heart. Kevin Hart wore women's clothing in a 2013 SNL skit. Sean and Marlon Wayans were white women in 2004's White Chicks. And Tyler Perry has portrayed Medea in several projects over the last 20 years. But for Jackson, he is certain that crossing the gender line for laughs came at a significant cost. Now, the actor says not even a check for $1 trillion would coax him into wearing a dress. "I was cursed by it. I believe it was curse that went with that personally, because ain't nothing went right since then. That's truth. Everything went wrong when I put on that dress. My path, when I put on a dress, it came with a demon baby mama and a starter kit for hell," he noted. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.